Gather round, seekers of the spectral and the strange. Pull the darkness closer, like a shroud. Tonight, here on the Somber Scroll, we peel back the faded velvet curtains on a particular kind of haunting, one steeped in transient memories and forgotten luxury. We explore the chilling potential of places built for temporary stays, places designed to welcome hundreds, yet now stand silent, holding their breath, and perhaps holding on to something else entirely. Tonight, we check into the nightmare realm of creepy encounters in abandoned hotels. Think about it. Hotels, palaces of passage, countless souls drifting through. Lovers meeting in secret, families on vacation, lonely travelers seeking solace, deal makers celebrating fortunes, gamblers losing everything. Every room holds echoes, laughter, tears, arguments, whispers of intimacy, cries of despair. Hotels are designed to absorb stories, to be silent witnesses. But what happens when the stories are particularly dark? What happens when the doors close for the last time? The staff leaves, the dust settles, and those echoes are left to fester and coalesce in the silence. Our story tonight focuses on one such place. It doesn't have the Gothic infamy of Black Creek Penitentiary, perhaps, but its decay holds a different kind of chill. The ghost of glamour turned grotesque. We speak of the once magnificent Hotel Belvedere. Perched precariously on a mountainside overlooking a valley town that time forgot, the Belvedere was built in the roaring 20s, a monument to optimism and Art Deco extravagance. For decades, it hosted the wealthy, the famous, the infamous. Presidents slept in its suites. Movie stars danced in its opulent ballroom. Secrets were whispered over cocktails in its smoky bar. But time, like the mountain winters, was unkind. The nearby mines closed. The town withered, and the Belvedere's gilded cage began to rust. Ownership changed hands repeatedly, each new proprietor failing to recapture its former glory. Finally, following years of decline and whispers of mismanagement, a mysterious fire gutted the West Wing in the late 1970s. While officially blamed on faulty wiring, darker rumors circulated. Arson, related to insurance fraud, or perhaps something connected to the hotel's increasingly grim reputation for accidents and misfortunes. Whatever the truth, the fire was the final nail. The Hotel Belvedere closed its doors, seemingly for good, left to the mercy of the elements and encroaching nature. Fast forward 4 decades. Enter our narrators, not unlike the crew from our previous tale, yet driven by slightly different currents. This group, running a moderately successful paranormal investigation web series called Echoes of Decay, saw the Belvedere as a potential jewel in their crown. There was Alex, the pragmatic leader and cameraman, focused on capturing compelling visuals and maintaining a level of scientific rigor, though secretly hoping for something truly unexplainable. Then came Maya, the sensitive and historian, deeply attuned to atmospheres and armed with meticulously researched details of the hotel's checkered past. Liam, the tech specialist, burdened with audio equipment, EMF meters, thermal cameras, forever chasing quantifiable proof of the paranormal. And finally, Chloe, the newest member, brought on for her skepticism and sharp interviewing skills, intended to be the audience's grounded perspective, though her resolve had yet to be truly tested. They knew the risks: structural instability, asbestos, the usual hazards of urban exploration. They also knew the legends. Locals spoke of hearing phantom music drifting down from the mountain on still nights, of lights flickering in boarded-up windows, of shadowy figures glimpsed in the upper floors. Tales persisted of room 307, where a wealthy socialite had allegedly taken her own life in the 1950s after her lover abandoned her. Her despair supposedly staining the very fabric of the place. Their approach was planned for dusk, maximizing the atmospheric potential. The final mile was a treacherous, overgrown service road, barely navigable by their sturdy van. When the Hotel Belvedere finally loomed into view through the skeletal trees, it was a breathtaking, heartbreaking sight. Its grandeur was still apparent, though ravaged. Ornate stonework crumbled, intricate iron balconies rusted. Tall arched windows were dark, empty sockets, many crudely boarded over. A once manicured fountain, choked with weeds, stood sentinel before the main entrance, its cherubs stained and cracked. The building seemed to sag under the weight of its own history and neglect, exuding an aura, not just of decay, but of profound sadness, laced with something vaguely resentful. They found an entry point through a shattered service door near the derelict kitchens, stepping from the crisp mountain air into the tomb-like stillness of the hotel. The air inside was thick, cold, and layered with smells. Damp plaster, mold, stale cigar smoke clinging stubbornly after decades. And beneath it all, the faint, incongruous sweetness of decaying flowers or old perfume. "Okay, comms check." Alex's voice was hushed, reverent, yet tense. They confirmed one by one, their voices swallowed by the vastness of the lobby. The lobby itself was a scene of frozen chaos. Velvet ropes lay decaying on the floor. Overturned potted plants spilled dry soil. Faded advertisements for long-gone events drooped from notice boards. A grand piano stood shrouded in dust, its keys yellowed like old teeth. Behind the marble reception desk, key cubbies stood mostly empty, though a few tarnished keys still hung on their hooks, silent witnesses to forgotten arrivals. Liam immediately began taking baseline readings. EMF is flatlining for now. Temp is about 5 degrees colder in here than outside. But that could be insulation or lack thereof. Maya ran a gloved hand over the dusty guest register left open on the counter. "Look at these names. Senators, actresses, Ghost signatures now. She shivered, pulling her jacket tighter. The energy here is heavy, layers upon layers of it. Chloe, filming with her handheld camera, tried to maintain her detached cool. Impressive decay, guys. Great B-roll. But heavy energy? Let's stick to what we can document. Their exploration began methodically. The once grand ballroom, its parquet floor warped and buckled, chandeliers dangling precariously, thick dust muting the echoes of imagined waltzes. As they stood in the center, Liam's parabolic microphone aimed towards the empty orchestra dais. They all heard it, faintly, seemingly from far away, or perhaps just in their heads. The strains of distant music, a scratchy, melancholic waltz. "Did you hear that?" Liam whispered, adjusting his headphones. "Yeah," Alex confirmed, panning his main camera slowly. "Very faint." Chloe frowned. "Wind? Acoustic trick? This place is huge." The music faded as quickly as it appeared. Liam checked his recorder. "Got something. Very low level. Could be interference, but it peaked right when we heard it." Next, the dining room. Tables still draped in stained, rotting linen cloths. A single, overturned wine glass lay shattered on the floor. Here, the feeling was different. Less sadness, more tension. Alex felt a prickling sensation, like static electricity, on his arms. Maya stopped near a service door, her hand hovering over the knob. "Someone's angry here," she murmured. "Resentment. Maybe staff?" Suddenly, from the adjacent kitchens, came a sharp clatter, like a stack of plates falling. They froze, beams converging on the swinging kitchen doors. "Hello?" Alex called out, his voice tight. "Anyone there?" Silence answered. They pushed through the doors into the industrial ruin of the kitchens. Stainless steel surfaces gleamed dully under layers of grime. Pots and pans lay scattered. Nothing seemed recently disturbed. No fallen plates. "Okay, that was definite," Chloe conceded, her voice a little shaky. "Sounded real." Liam swept the area with his thermal camera. Nothing. Cold spots all over, but nothing shaped like a plate-dropping ghost. They continued, deciding to head upstairs. The main elevators were, of course, defunct. The doors pried open on one shaft, revealing only darkness and dangling cables. They opted for the grand staircase. Its marble steps cracked, its ornate banister coated in thick, undisturbed dust. Except for one section. Near the top of the first landing, a single, clear handprint stood out in the dust on the railing, facing up the stairs. "Okay, that's weird," Alice muttered, filming it closely. "Doesn't look fresh, exactly, but it's definitely clearer than the surrounding dust." "Whose print?" Liam wondered aloud. "And why just one?" As they ascended further, the feeling of being watched intensified. It was a palpable pressure, the sense that unseen eyes followed their progress. from the shadowed doorways of the upper corridors. The air grew colder. The guest floors were long, repeating corridors of dread. Doors stood open to rooms stripped bare, or closed, hiding unknown decay. Wallpaper peeled like sunburnt skin, revealing dark stains beneath. Carpets squelched underfoot in places, damp from leaks or something worse. They documented several rooms, finding little more than ruined furniture and debris. Then they reached the third floor, room 307. Unlike the others, its door was heavy, dark wood, and firmly closed. A tarnished brass 307 was still affixed. "This is the one," Maya said softly, her hand hovering near the door but not touching it. "The suicide room, Amelia Ashworth. They say she waited for days for her lover to return. He never did. Found her hanging from the window latch. Liam's EMF meter, quiet until now, suddenly spiked, buzzing erratically as he neared the door. Whoa, getting a strong reading right here. Unusually strong." Alex motioned for quiet, pressing his ear to the door. Faintly from within came a soft, rhythmic sound. Weeping. A woman's heartbroken sobs. They looked at each other, faces pale in their flashlight beams. Even Chloe seemed frozen. "Can you hear that?" Alex whispered. They all nodded. The weeping continued, muffled but unmistakable. "Okay." Alex took a deep breath. "Liam, thermal and audio ready? Maya, stick close. Chloe, keep rolling. I'm going to try the door." He reached for the antique handle. It turned, surprisingly easily. He pushed the door inward. The weeping stopped instantly. The room inside was dark, the window heavily boarded. It smelled intensely of dust, and that strange, cloying perfume they'd noticed downstairs. The air was freezing cold, far colder than the corridor. Liam's EMF meter went wild, shrieking before abruptly dying in his hand. "Damn it," Liam hissed, fumbling with it. "Thing just bricked." Their flashlights cut through the gloom, revealing a relatively intact room, albeit decayed. A 4-poster bed frame stripped bare, a vanity table with a cracked mirror, a writing desk. On the desk lay a single desiccated rose and an old, leather-bound diary, open. Maya moved towards it cautiously. "Don't touch anything yet," Alex warned. Maya leaned closer, reading the elegant, faded script on the open page. Her breath hitched. It's dated October 1958. It says, "He's not coming." The silence is unbearable. Soon it will be over. Soon it will be over. As she read the words aloud, the temperature in the room plummeted further. Their breath plumed in the frigid air. A wave of crushing despair washed over them, so intense it was physically nauseating. Jess let out a small cry, stumbling back against the doorframe. Then, the heavy door slammed shut behind them, plunging the room into near-total darkness, as Chloe's flashlight chose that exact moment to flicker and die. Get the door! Alex yelled, his voice tight with fear. He fumbled for his backup light. Liam, abandoning his dead EMF meter, threw his shoulder against the door. It didn't budge. It's stuck or locked, Maya screamed, pointing a shaking hand towards the vanity table. In the faint residual light from Alex's now working backup beam, the cracked mirror reflected the room. But standing behind their reflections was the faint, shimmering outline of a woman in a long, pale dress, her features indistinct but radiating an aura of profound sorrow and icy rage. "It's her! She's here!" Maya cried. The figure in the mirror didn't move, but the objects in the room did. The desiccated rose on the desk trembled, then disintegrated into dust. The diary pages ruffled violently, as if in a gale wind. A small ornate perfume bottle on the vanity rattled against the wood, then flew across the room, shattering against the wall near Liam's head. "Get us out!" Chloe shrieked, blindly clawing at the immovable door. The oppressive cold intensified, feeling like icy needles on their skin. A low, guttural moan filled the room, seeming to come from the walls themselves, vibrating through their bones. Alex finally got his main camera light back on, aiming it towards the mirror. The apparition, if it had been there, was gone. But the feeling of malevolent presence was stronger than ever. He slammed his heavy boot against the door near the handle. Wood splintered. He kicked again, harder. The old lock mechanism gave way with a screech of protesting metal, and the door flew open into the dimly lit corridor. "Go, go, go!" Alex roared. They scrambled out of room 307, not daring to look back, leaving the oppressive cold and despair behind them. They didn't stop running until they reached the grand staircase, hearts pounding, gasping for air. "What the hell was that?" Chloe demanded, leaning against the dusty railing, her face streaked with tears and grime. Her skepticism was utterly shattered. That, Maya breathed, shaking uncontrollably, was Amelia, and she does not want visitors. Liam checked his audio recorder, which had miraculously kept running. Got the slam, the scream, maybe the moan, but the EMF is fried, completely dead. Alex checked his main camera. Footage is corrupted right around the time the door slammed. Static and digital noise. We might have the mirror shot. Maybe. They descended the rest of the stairs in near silence, the adrenaline fading, replaced by a bone-deep chill and exhaustion. The lower floors felt different now, less passive, more aware. Every shadow seemed deeper. Every creak of the decaying structure sounded like a footstep. As they crossed the lobby towards the exit, the grand piano, untouched and shrouded in the center of the room, emitted a single, loud, discordant clang, the sound echoing through the vast space like a final, malevolent punctuation mark. They didn't wait to investigate. They fled the Hotel Belvedere, bursting out into the twilight, gulping down the clean, cold mountain air like drowning swimmers surfacing. They piled into the van, locked the doors, and didn't speak until they were miles down the treacherous road, the menacing silhouette of the hotel shrinking behind them. The aftermath was complicated. Liam managed to recover snippets of audio, the faint weeping, outside room 307. The door slam, the terrifying moan inside, the final piano chord. Alex's main camera footage of the room itself was mostly unusable noise, though a few stabilized frames did show something fleeting and pale in the cracked mirror, dismissed by debunkers as lens flare or pareidolia. Chloe's handheld footage captured their panic, the darkness, the flying perfume bottle, but not the source. Maya's research confirmed the diary entry matched historical accounts of Amelia Ashworth's final days. Their episode on the Hotel Belvedere was one of their most popular, but also their most controversial. Believers hailed it as proof. Skeptics picked apart the corrupted data and attributed the rest to suggestion and overwrought nerves in a creepy environment. For the team, however, there was no doubt. They had encountered something deeply real and deeply hostile. Chloe, the former skeptic, was the most affected, suffering nightmares for weeks. Maya felt a lingering sadness, a connection to the spirit's pain. Liam became obsessed with trying to filter the audio for clearer EVPs. Alex felt a heavy responsibility, wondering if they had provoked the entity, disturbed its tragic rest. The Hotel Belvedere still stands on its lonely mountainside, guarding its secrets. Perhaps the wind does carry phantom music. Perhaps lights do flicker. Perhaps Amelia Ashworth still waits in room 307, trapped in her final moments of despair, lashing out at anyone who intrudes upon her eternal vigil. Abandoned hotels are not just empty buildings. They are vessels brimming with the residue of life, love, loss, and sometimes sheer terror. They remember every guest, every whispered secret, every final breath. And sometimes, they don't want you to check out.